Throughout time, people across the world told each other tales of how they came to be, of heroes and monsters, romance and tragedy, death and rebirth. Mythology helped shape the ancient world, explaining the unexplainable. This is Mythology Unleashed. In Yoruba lore, everything was connected, from the sun that hangs in the sky to the highest mountains and the valleys and forests beneath them. Every gust of wind, every grain of sand, every blade of grass, and every creature that walked and crawled the earth, from the smallest insects to the mightiest of beasts, and the peoples of the earth. And to the Yoruba people of West Africa, everything in existence, everything that was, and everything that ever will be, was the work of the Orishas. Often depicted as beautiful human beings, yet often unperceived by the mortal world, the Orishas were responsible for the natural flow of day-to-day life, amidst the hustle and bustle of human activity, the natural world, and the very cosmos, and are often invoked when their wisdom and blessings are needed. It should be noted that Orishas are not viewed as gods per se, despite having notable similarities and a number of similar worship rituals in dedication to them. Instead, Orishas are divine spirits, essences of the very fabric of the universe, and the emanations of the supreme being Olodumare. Also known as Olorun, Olodumare is not an Orisha, but rather the omniscient and clairvoyant embodiment of all that is, all that was, and all that ever will be, the origin of virtue, morality, and compassion. Though Olodumare is often depicted in art as a wise and strong old man, and often referred to with masculine pronouns out of convenience, he is said to be formless, genderless, a being so vast and all-encompassing that his presence permeates and transcends through all things, and he is thus unable to be fully comprehended through the eyes and minds of mortals. As a result, Olodumare created the Orishas, different aspects of himself that were granted a certain sphere of influence at random, to help humans reach their goal of self-actualization, and so that the people may know Olodumare. There are hundreds of individual Orishas in Yoruba mythology, the number usually given as 400 plus 1. Of the vast number of Orishas, there are 7 that seem to take prominence over all others, appearing in the most stories and receiving the most honor from followers. Shango, the powerful axe-wielding Orisha of thunder and lightning, justice, virility, and war. Eshu, the messenger Orisha, associated with crossroads, transformation, and change, and noted for his reputation as a trickster. Oya, the Orisha of the winds, of death, and of rebirth. Yemaya, the mother of all water, divine earth mother, and the protector of women. Obatala, the sky god responsible for separating the land and water during the creation, and protector of the weak. Ogun, the steadfast and hard-working Orisha of iron and metal, whose warrior spirit burned as hot as his forge. And Oshun, who presided over fresh water, love and beauty, and the youngest and most beautiful of the Orishas. Like many gods and divine spirits of other cultures, the Orishas are said to possess distinct personalities and many human-like flaws, such as pride, lust, vanity, bloodthirst, and foolishness. In one of the various Yoruba creation stories, the Orisha Obatala separated the land from the waters, and Olodumare sent down 17 Orishas to complete the work. 16 of the selected Orishas were male, but the 17th, Oshun, was ignored by the others, leading to her vacating Earth for the moon, and as a result, the Orishas failed in their task. The 16 Orishas were then forced to return to Olodumare and admit their failure. But when the Supreme Being asked what happened to the 17th who was sent with them, the male Orishas confessed that they ignored her because of her age and her gender. Olodumare chastised them and told them that they could not complete the task without the aid of Oshun. The 16 male Orishas swallowed their pride and apologized to Oshun, who then proceeded to finish creation with the gifts of beauty, fertility, love, and sweetness, instilling the need for these things in all people everywhere who had been given life through the breath of Olodumare. Much like mortals, Orishas were tasked with devoting themselves to developing a strong character that pursues what is good and shuns what is evil. But neither people nor Orishas are capable of doing so all the time, and often find themselves at odds with what they should do and what they want to do. Primary examples of this are found in the stories where the Orishas rebel against Olodumare, believing him too old to maintain the flow of the world, and that they would be superior. In one tale, the Orishas plotted to scare Olodumare to death by inviting him to one of their huts and releasing mice, the only thing which Olodumare was afraid of. But the Orishas forgot to include Eshu, the messenger god, in their plans. Eshu knew their plan, however, because he was present in the doorway when they formed it, but did not warn Olodumare of their intentions. When Olodumare entered the hut, the door slammed shut, and hundreds of mice began to scurry across the floor. Olodumare was terrified and ran from the rodents, but Eshu appeared and calmed the deity, and he quickly removed all of the mice from the hut. Eshu was quick to reveal the guilty Orishas, who were swiftly punished, while Eshu was awarded with the gift of being able to do whatever he pleased, whenever he pleased, without restraint and without consequence, enabling him to become a trickster figure who freely interferes with others' lives and encouraging growth and transformation. In another story, the Orishas refused to obey Olodumare anymore because they desired the power to govern the world as they saw fit, without having to consult anyone else. Eshu informed Olodumare with the news, and the Supreme Being stopped the rains. The earth began to die as crops failed, and lakes and rivers dried up, and the Orishas wailed their repentance, but Olodumare would not hear them, and he hid himself in his sacred realm, Orun. Desperate, Oshun transformed herself into a peacock and took flight for Orun, high in the heavens, to bring the news of the Orishas' repentance to Olodumare. The journey was long, however, and she had to pass close to the sun to reach Orun, which tarnished her feathers and caused her to lose many of them. She continued despite her exhaustion, and she fell into the arms of Olodumare at last in the form of a vulture. Olodumare was impressed by her courage, her determination and sacrifice, and so he healed her, released the rains back upon the earth, and designated Oshun as the only Orisha always welcome to deliver messages to Orun from that time forward. Though the Orishas were all susceptible to very human faults, such as ambition, pride, and vanity, they were more than capable of being helpful, hard-working, compassionate, romantic, encouraging, wise, and more, traits that are said to be dominant in the Orishas' personalities, more so than their individual flaws. But perhaps this is what made the Yoruba pantheon so beloved, not only with the blessings that they would grant to their followers, but because there was something relatable, something human to be found within figures that were far above mortals. From the dedicated yet gruff Ogun, to the wily yet devoted Eshu, to the vain yet compassionate Oshun, the Orishas have, for thousands of years, been some of the most complex, most engaging, and most widely worshipped deities throughout Africa. As a result, their worship is spread far and wide throughout the African diaspora, even crossing the Atlantic into the Americas, and being expressed in varied practices such as Santeria, Haitian Vodou, and have even become associated with various saints in Catholicism. In modern times, Olodumare and the Orishas continue to be invoked by adherents, and according to the belief, are still just as alert and just as responsive to human need as they have been since people first received the breath of life at the beginning of time.